Hello, how is everyone doing? This is Kenny Rockman, the author and founder of the Child Support Hustle and the Reform Child Support Now movement. I hope everyone is doing well today. Happy Sunday. I'm doing okay. Thank you, if you're asking. Hi, Speak Life. How are you? Thanks for joining. Let me just adjust my screen a little bit. Thanks for joining. As you can see from the title, uh, father was killed in Texas this month. They say on the 6th. I think it's the 6th, but they're just now reporting it. I know you guys have seen it on social media. The news has been talking about it. I just saw it yesterday. I think the first time I seen it was yesterday. Good, Speak Life. So I want to talk about it, of course, and I want to talk about parental alienation. Good day, David. Thanks for joining. It needs to be outlawed immediately because of the violence that goes along with it. Hi, Fred. Thank you for joining. Yeah, and I want to talk about it more because on social media, I'm gonna talk about this in my, I have to write all this down because if I start going off on my own, I'll just start talking, and the purpose of the video will get lost in the sauce because I'll just go on and on. So I'll talk about it later, but the media, in my opinion, and social media, when people are commenting, it's more so whether it was self-defense or not. And they're missing out, they're missing the point that this father went to pick up his son and was denied his son. So that's what I want to talk about. It's the fact that he was not, if had he been given his son and not alienated, because that had to be a pattern, then that man, that father, very well might be alive today. So I want to talk about the fact that he did not have access. I'm sure they had a court order, but he wasn't able to get his son. So we need to talk about that just as well as talking about the other part of it, the killing. So excuse me, guys, my allergies down here in Texas, they have um, especially in Austin. I don't know about other parts of Texas, but Austin, your allergies will go crazy when you come down here. And it's like cedar season or something like that. And it's like you have the flu. It's called cedar fever. And it's like you have flu like symptoms, but it's actually your allergies. And it's crazy. Like, I'm from Ohio. Go Buckeyes. I know some people ain't gonna like it, and we did take a L yesterday, but still, whatever. Um, but yeah, it'll have you jacked up. You think you really like with the flu or something, and it's just allergies, cedar fever. So let me start. Thank you guys for joining. Thanks for the likes. If you're here, give me the like button, please, and I greatly appreciate it. So on the thumbnail, you saw us holding up this affidavit, and I'll talk about this in a minute. So on November 6, 2021, Chad Reed was shot and killed over what the media and his widow, Jennifer Reed, have described as a custody dispute. I'm going to talk about the facts of the case, but I'm going to talk about this affidavit that his widow, Jennifer Reed, filed on or around the 24th of November. She filed the petition in, uh, which is an intervention in suit affecting the parent-child relationship, essentially asking the judge to grant her full custody of the two children because, quote, the appointment of a parent as a sole managing conservator would significantly impair the child's physical health and emotional development, end quote. The children's stepmother is claiming that leaving the children in the care of their mother and the man who has been accused and is on video killing their father will harm them physically and emotionally. I want you to tell me in the comments, what do you think about their stepmother, who's not biologically their mother, taking full custody of the mother's children based on the circumstances? I want to know, just to know, like, what's everybody thinking? So here's the facts according to this affidavit that the stepmother and the widow of Chad Reed filed. On November 5th, 2021, after 4 p.m., she and her minor son were present when Mr. Reed met with the children's mother and her boyfriend at the boyfriend's home. They were there to pick up Mr. Reed's youngest son. Mr. Reed was supposed to have custody of his child beginning at 3:15 p.m. The mother stated that she wanted to see him as her excuse why she didn't produce the child as ordered by the court. During the time Mr. and Mrs. Reed were together, the children resided with them greater than 6 months of the year. So it sounds like there was some shared parenting going on. Of course, there's more information in the affidavit. I put the link, because this is public record, in the description. If you want to go and find out more, that's in there. That's in the description. But seeing that the shooter, William Kyle Carruth, had just been identified and not charged, I didn't want to talk more about what's in there because, I don't want to be held liable or putting out things that, hearsay. So that's why I didn't go there. And I wanted to talk more about, like I said, about the parental alienation and the custody disputes that turn violent, as they often do. In Mr. Reed's situation, it is clear that some type of court-ordered visitation, as is stated in the affidavit, was in place, and yet he was still allegedly denied visitation or access to his son, at least on the day he was killed. According to the administration for children and families, child support agencies work collaboratively with other programs. This is from the ACF. This is a government agency. This is what they say on their website. These child support agencies are supposed to, or they work collaboratively or work together to engage fathers, and y'all let me know what you guys think. Engage fathers in the lives of their children, increase non-custodial parent employment, improve family relationships, improve and encourage healthy marriages, secure health care coverage, and help prevent family violence. In my opinion, all of those goals would be laughable. I'm not laughing because them failing to achieve those goals all across this nation is causing tragedy. This is what they're supposed to do as is written. The link is in the description, but they're not doing it. And because they're not doing it, people are dying. Parents are dying, children are dying because they're not doing any of this. They don't help prevent family violence at all. The ACF also says that agencies are trying to become more involved in issues such as co-parenting, which includes parenting time. This information that I'm getting this from is from a military training guide, which was published in 2013. So not only did the feds only include military parents, this training was for the military parents, and I searched and I didn't see where they distributed this training manual to all the agencies, but to which they often do, to differentiate between which parent should get what information or what treatment is, again, a violation of equal protections, or treating parents like they're supposed to have a certain amount of leeway when it comes to parenting because of their status, like they treat married parents a certain type of way versus unmarried parents. But even if they put these guidelines out, which I'm sure they do, they still don't follow the information that they produce in these manuals. This stuff should be going on anyway. The manual goes on to say, and I have a copy, of course, everything when I talk about, unless I say, or unless you can tell it's just me saying my opinion, like if I say something's bullshit, y'all know that it's not going to be a link in the description. Y'all know that's just me. But if I talk about something or I quote something, I'm going to put the link in the description. So the manual goes on to say that there are currently no legal requirements that a child support agency provide co-parenting and parenting time services, which is bullshit, because there was a proposal back in 2013 under the Obama administration to make that mandatory. And they shot it down. It did not become law. So that should be there anyway. But they okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. See why I have to write stuff down. So therefore, most agencies do not directly provide such services, even though the states receive $10 million annually in federal funding for the Access and Visitation Program, which is administered by the Federal Office of Child Support Enforcement. So they get money for to provide these services. So why aren't they including it in the program in their program and they're administering it through the child support, the federal child support program? So why is this not included? They don't want to pay for it, and they don't care about the preventing family violence. They don't care about improving family relationships, and they don't care about engaging fathers in the lives of their children. And yet they claim that fathers are absent, and that there's a fatherless epidemic in the United States. These fathers are just fleeing their children. They're absent. They caused this. The program, this access and visitation program, which has been in effect since the 90s, when they implemented the child support program and welfare reform and all this kind of stuff, all this mess that we have now. So this is not new. So the program is supposed to support and facilitate non-custodial parents access to visitation and parenting time with their children, which we know they don't do. Services are funded by this grant include mediation, counseling, education, development of parenting plans, supervised visitation, safe exchange services. Safe exchange services. If that was in place here in Texas, Lubbock, Texas, Mr. Reed might still be alive. Safe exchange services and development of guidelines for parenting time and alternative custody arrangements. This stuff been there forever, and we still have situations like parents being killed when they're only going to pick up their children. Of course, if they offer them, it's up to the state, and the state doesn't want to spend the money. You would think that every child support agency, family court worker, judge, and overseer would encourage the shared parenting and discourage shared parenting programs and discourage parental alienation. After all, numerous studies, one by the ACF in 2018, have been conducted and found that financial and emotional support are interrelated. Years ago, I had a debate with, I don't know, some group. I've debated with, or, had disagreements with so many different groups on Facebook when I started. But somebody tried to say that child support and visitation were two separate issues. And I said they are absolutely not two separate issues. They go together. You cannot separate the two. So in this study in 2018, the Fed said financial and emotional support are interrelated. Yes, they are. Second, the U.S. Census Bureau consistently showed that parents with custody or parenting time arrangements are more likely to receive child support. So if they're so worried about collecting child support and collecting the most child support, why aren't these parenting plans being promoted? In historical studies among the AV, or the Access and Visitation Program, participants have shown increased child support payments. But these increased payments must not hold a candle to the amount of money that the states receive by separating child support and visitation orders. It must not, because they don't enforce it. The government uses the excuse that the program doesn't, quote, have the capacity to serve all eligible families, end quote. That, of course, is a poor excuse, because considering that this program is directly tied to child support, and the child support program served nearly 13.8 million children in 2020, according to the Office of Child Support Enforcement, they could definitely spare a few billion out of the hundred of billions that this program generates annually to ensure that non-custodial parents spend adequate time with their children. They could spare a couple bucks. And we already know, if you watch my videos before, that TANF money, the block grant that they get every year the states receive, that they're just sitting, putting away for a rainy day, that they don't have to spend on anything that have to do with children. They could start spending it on children by pushing the AV program and do what they're supposed to be doing based on the goals, or what they're supposed to, ACF is saying that they want to do, as far as, having safety in the custodial exchange and promoting family unity. I'm not, saying it verbatim or quoting, but you know what I'm saying. Just promoting healthy families. They don't care. Okay, so we know that there is a need for parents to have access to their children when they don't live in the same household. We know that the federal child support agency funds states with money to provide access and visitation programs. And we know that the states are refusing to implement access and visitation programs so that parents and children can spend the time that they need together, so that they can both share and enjoy the relationship when the parents are not together. We know that. You can see it. There's parental alienation goes on, and it's an international issue. It's not just in the United States. Just like the child support hustle, the government getting money off of the child support system. This is international, and we know that the government ignores parents who are fighting for shared parenting rights across the country. They act like it's not an issue, or that people are not out here fighting, just like they act like they don't see people fighting for child support reform, but they see everybody. In my opinion, they're trying to figure out the best way not to, to change it or to implement legislation to fix the mess that they've created without them being held liable and getting sued for the carnage that has been left behind from the family court, child support, all these systems that have been, just destroying people, just destroying lives. This killing in Texas is not an isolated act caused by the family court, child support, or custody issues. And what I've noticed in social media, like I said at the beginning of the video, is that it seems like people are trying to turn this into a gun rights issue or self-defense issue, um, right to carry and things like that. But what we cannot let the government, especially the state of Texas, and all the citizens ignore, that this case is an apparent parental alienation and a violation of custody order case where somebody was killed. Just in 2021 alone, there have been many stories of violence as a result of either child support or custody problems across the nation. I'm gonna give y'all some examples, and I just looked it up. This is not going prior to 2021. And this is just I'm starting in June. In June, the father shot the mother's current boyfriend during a custody exchange in San Antonio, Texas again. According to the San Antonio Express News, the father was arrested and had a bail set for $250,000. That father was killed, I believe. I had the link in the description. I think he he killed him. So that father died. Okay, so moving on to California, this is in a gated community. The Visalia Times Delta wrote about a possible child custody dispute where a woman shot her husband multiple times. The article doesn't say, but I think they were estranged because he was shot multiple times in the yard. Joshua Yeager wrote that according to the witnesses, the officers believing the shooting was the result of a dispute, possibly over a child. That happened in July. In Warren, Michigan, a man was shot in the face during the custody exchange that took place in a parking lot of, guess where? The local police station. The article by Click on Detroit doesn't say if the father was the shooter or the victim, but the article does say that two groups of people met up for the custody exchange. The victim was shot in the face, but was expected to survive. On the 21st of this month, a woman has been charged with shooting 3 people during a custody exchange in the 7th Ward in Louisiana. According to Fox 8, Ken Daly reported that the police said that the group had gathered to exchange custody of a 6-year-old child, but then an argument erupted and, quote, turned physical involving the 3 victims, end quote. The father and 2 women were all shot but expected to live. The mother is in custody and facing up to over 20 years in prison. One more. This shooting occurred on Thanksgiving night at a Walmart located in Opelousas, Louisiana. I know I probably butchered that. Another one in Louisiana. The child's aunt was shot in the upper torso, according to Dion Johnson of KLFY, where she's listed in stable condition. The suspect, is not clear whether that was the father or not, shot the woman during a child custody exchange. He was later captured. Now, I'm not sharing these stories to justify shooting in cases of custody dispute or parental alienation. Of course, you guys know that. I just want to point out that these stories of violence are familiar, even though they are months and miles apart. They all have to do with a child and one parent exchanging with the other parent. The other parent, when somebody doesn't want to give up the child and there's some arguing going on or whatever, when there's probably an agreement in place that they have to give up the child. So there should not be a dispute. There should not be any violence involved. They should just give up the child when the other parent has on that paper the right to have the child. And apparently the government, the local agencies are not enforcing that. Children and the problems with exchanging children with the parents. Let me see. There is absolutely no reason why a father or mother should not be permitted. Oh, okay. There's no reason why a father or mother should not be permitted to be a father or a mother to their child simply because they do not live under the same roof of the child or the parents are not together. Because 2 parents are not together does not mean that that parent stops being a parent. That does not mean that, just like child support says, if parents aren't together, that does not mean that child doesn't still need to be taken care of. So why are officials acting like a parent stops being a parent because the parents aren't together? More bullshit. I'm talking about situations where proven and validated accounts of, I'm not talking about accounts where there's violence involved and domestic violence or any kind of violence or anything like that. I'm talking about where the parents both take care of their child, are loving parents and healthy parents. I'm not talking about where there's violence and abuse and things like that. That's a whole no. I don't condone that, and I'm sure most people don't. I'm talking about people that regular parents, loving parents trying to take care of their children. There's no reason why they can't be parents to their children without going through this bullshit. You should not have to beg to be a parent to your child. You should not have to feel like threatened or get shot or get killed trying to pick your child up. Nothing should change because you and the parent are not getting together when it comes to being a parent. If the other parent's in their feelings, oh well, everybody's supposed to be grown. We're adults. I'm gonna get to the comments when I get finished, because if I get off track, I already discussed that. I can't get off track. So I'm gonna hit on parental alienation real quick, because a lot of people, like myself, I wasn't familiar with parental alienation and the terms and everything like that. I was more like, my whole advocacy and my book is about child support. So I found out a lot of information about parental alienation just from networking with different people in the movement. So the definition, according to Psychiatric Times, defines parental alienation as a mental condition in which a child, usually one whose parents are engaged in a high conflict, separation, or divorce, allies strongly with one parent, the preferred parent, and rejects a relationship with the other parent, the alienated parent, without legitimate justification. Parental alienation has been described by many as child abuse because in most cases, the PA, according to the Psychiatric Times, a parent purposefully causes a child to reject their relationship with the other parent, which constitutes child psychological abuse. And you know that stuff is real. These kids grow up and they don't want any relationship with their parent, because the other parent, because their custodial parent, keeps them away from their rightful having a relationship. And they tell these kids, oh, they don't want anything to do with you, they abandon you, they don't like you, they moved on. And these kids grow up hating these parents. It's true. With the violence that occurs in some of these custody exchanges and the abuse that occurs in parental alienation cases, the chances of children growing up emotionally healthy is getting slimmer by the minute. And this is contrary to what the child support and family support systems have led everyone to believe is their main objective. And that's operating in the best interest of children. I'm gonna grab me some water real quick. I just type and type. But this information is so important. Like, kids, these children are the future, like Whitney Houston said. Like, and this is what, and the government is supposed, they are interjecting themselves into families' lives, and they coming in by force, and they are literally they're destroying these children because of these guidelines, and they force people to follow them, but then they allow people to alienate their children, and they know it's damaging. It's child abuse. The more that a person dissects the family court, child support, and custody systems in the United States, and I'm going to say this is around the world, the more clear it becomes that these systems do not care about children, and they care less about parents. Every day we see examples of the utter disdain that the government shows towards fathers and mothers because officials have stepped in and decided to co-parent with whoever has sole custody, and they say to hell with the other parent. We see that all the time. Uh, I, I know mothers are non-custodial parents, but the majority of fathers have been turned into second-class citizens. They do the society and the government do not care about non-residential, non-custodial parents. They have less rights than, even, and I'm not saying I'm all for, I support 100% prison reform, but I will use this as an example. Prisoners, people incarcerated, receive stimulus payments. Parents allegedly owing child support debt did not. Just an example. Meanwhile, the government steals child support payments from low-income children receiving TANF and say that parents owe them for a grant. They decrease programs to help low income and poor children, and they collect and hoard block money that's supposed to help these same low income children that we're supposed to believe they care about. As long as parents are fighting, harming, and killing each other, they control your family. And whoever controls the family controls everything. Never forget that. If you are a custodial parent or no one with a child support case, welfare or not, Title 4D case or not, I want you to look at the money that the government makes off of you and your child, and the fact that you and the other parent aren't together. Just look at the numbers. If you can, go to my site, thechildsupporthustle.com, and just look at some of my articles, and just the sheer amount of money that this system generates off of child support alone will hopefully convince you to go close your case and try to work it out and make your own child support agreement with the other parent. That way, 100% of your money goes to your child instead of the government taking a piece of it just because they say they want it and because they think they can. And of course, share, work out a parenting plan and y'all work it out. If there's a beef between the parents, and I know about that, please stop the violence. Your child needs and deserves both parents. Now, this is just me talking as a parent. Um, at one time in a high conflict, if you want to call it that, relationship. I'm older now, so as you grow older, hopefully you learn some lessons, and you don't see everything that you saw at 20 that you see at 21. So, so your child needs and deserves both parents. It's so easy, especially when our babies and our feelings are involved, to act in ways that we may not normally act. As a woman and mother who has been there and done that, I ask everyone in high conflict situations to take a second and think about these decisions, especially when they are going to involve gunplay. Bullets don't have eyes, and you can't look a dead person in their eyes and apologize. That cannot happen. You can pray, you can do a lot of things in attempting to apologize to somebody, but once they are gone, you cannot look them eye to eye and apologize to them. There are a lot of organizations fighting for shared parenting. I myself believe in 50-50 shared parenting with $0 in child support when there is no evidence of abuse or violence. If you support automatic shared parenting or I think it's presumptive shared parenting, I suggest that you join up with some of the organizations. Go to Facebook, just type in shared parenting, and find one that fits your feelings with how you want to proceed. Right now, I've done work with, and I'm working with now with the National Parents Organization, NPO, and they done some work. They helped pass a shared parenting bill in Kentucky. I believe that was in 2018. They helped pass a shared parenting bill, I believe, in Arkansas. I don't know if it was this year or last year, but they're real active. So you might want to look them up. And thank you so much, Howard. I appreciate it. Thank you. Uh, so NPO is a great place to go and look and try, network and join organizations. Like I said, there's power in numbers, and it's going to take millions. And I think I put NPO's website in the description. If not, I'll go back and add it. I thank you guys for the likes too. So I'm going to end with this. Please don't let the media and politicians turn Mr. Reed's killing into a gun violence issue when this was a child custody issue first. Just as with other examples of violence, the media will report short articles without emphasis on the reason behind the violence, which has to do strongly with parents being alienated from their children. Outlawing parental alienation needs to be a campaign topic, as does many areas in the child support system, specifically repealing the Bradley Amendment. The government already does a great job taking every penny from us, basically for living. So let's stop them from profiting off of our families. I put the link if you want to contact me. Like I say on every video, I don't work on individual cases anymore, but if I can help you and point you in the right direction to help you with your child support case, or get you to somebody that can help you even with your shared parenting. Like I said, NPO is a great organization to check out. There's a bunch of organizations on that you can find on Facebook. If you go to my Facebook page, the Child Support Hustle Facebook page, I put a post up yesterday, and in the link in the post, I have a donation button, and that is for a parental alienation awareness group. So I don't know a lot about them, but you can go check them out and see. I know they bring awareness, and go and check them out and follow them and see what you can do. But yeah, join together. This parental alienation has to go too. Now I'm not gonna, because this is not, my area, but I know a lot of people. This is what they are combating, and they do a great job at it. But I did not want to go one day without me speaking about Chad Reed and the other parents who have died trying to see their children. And we can't let the government keep allowing this to happen. We are the people, and we have power. We have to band together and fight. And people say, what do you mean by keep fighting? I mean, not settling when we know this shit is wrong. It's not. This is wrong. Everything about this system is wrong. So I want to thank you all for joining me. Thank you, guys. I also want, if you're watching this later, let me know what you guys think about this Chad Reed's widow and the children's stepmother filing an affidavit to get custody of the children. I'm really curious, like I understand taking the children out of the home with the accused killer of their father for a temporary basis, but what about the stepmother keeping the children because of this incident, if you call it that? What do you think about that? Should step parents be able to step in and when something like this occurs? So thank you, guys. Remember, they can ignore hundreds, they can ignore thousands, but they cannot ignore millions. Where's my mouse? Let's go. Oh, I was about to check out, but let me go to the comments. I did say I was going to go to the comments before I logged out. So let me see if I missed any questions. They should definitely lock people up if they alienate children, because you go to jail if you don't pay your child support, which that needs to stop yesterday. Wait. Who? I don't know who this is. I'm trying to see who. Mark UM. Mishrock Mine. I emailed you about 2 months ago. But can you email me again? Mark M. I get a lot of emails. Sometimes I miss them. I'm sorry. I'm not sure who Craig Childress is. I'll look it up. Look him up. Dr. Craig Childress. I'm not sure who that is, Jim. Thank you, GL. Logistics doctor. Thank you. Dang, Cincinnati. Yeah, I know, man. They people be like I said, high conflict. You never know because, and a lot of times, family gets in it. So, like in Louisiana, you got three people. You know, you got people coming in, and in Michigan, you know, it's not just one person. You know, the family's into it. The argument breaks out. Now everybody's beefing, and it starts with the child, but then everybody's into it. So what starts into a custody exchange turns into this big old, war, which it needs to stop right then in the government because they are controlling so much, and they have these programs. They need to exercise and promote these programs. You know, they got the money for it. They taxing everybody. Yes, Fred, I do. On Jim, on parental alienation, that incentive money is a big deal to the child support system. So yeah, I do believe that, Fred. I'm gonna leave that up to the experts, Jim. My brain is filled with child support stuff. I don't think it could hold anything else. I just want to speak on the little bit that I know about shared parenting. Like I said, talking to other advocates and other organizations. I'm gonna leave that up to the experts. But I'll definitely look them up and I'll share what I can. I just hope that there's justice for Mr. Chad Reed. You're welcome, logistics doctor. It's my pleasure. I like to fight. Um, oh, I don't like to. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do, but you know, I feel like this is my calling, and I'll continue to do what I like to bring the information when I find it, um, so that people just know. Because there was a point when I didn't know, so any information I can share, I will. So, okay, I went through the comments. I thank you guys for tuning in. I thank y'all for the likes. If you're watching this later, I thank you for watching. Please subscribe so you can get your notifications when I come on. I don't believe that, Howard. I have met and talked to a lot of people from there, and no, they have their system is much like ours. I think our system is a mirror from there in Canada. So, they always try to switch it. Some people believe a lie. If they're told a lie long, if they're told a lie long enough, people will believe it. But I don't believe that one. I know. You too smart for that. Tell them we're too smart for that. Just like we're too smart for this nonsense that the ACF and OCSE and all them they keep putting out. We're not falling for it no more. They've been putting that stuff out for 30 years. It's over. All right, guys. Like I said, make sure your notifications are on so you know when I go live next. I thank you guys for subscribing to my channel and for supporting me all these years and all this time. And if you're new to me for now, if you've been following the child support hustle and supporting me and fighting with me all this time, thank you so much. It means so much, and I appreciate you. That's terrible. They need to outlaw it. Okay, so y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday. And I'll see y'all next time. Thanks. Bye-bye. Oh, if y'all need to contact me, my link tree is in the description. Okay. Bye. Have a good evening.